What would you do if your worst nightmare wore a kind smile? Stay sharp. This movie twists kindness into terror, and trust will bury you alive. Today, I'll recap a 2020 horror and action-packed ride called The Owners. So keep your eyes wide open and stay safe. The story begins with Gaz, Nathan, and Terry deciding to rob a quiet house in the countryside. Their target? The home of Dr. Richard Huggins and his wife Ellen, rumored to hold a safe stuffed with cash. It seems like easy money. No neighbors, no alarms, and two elderly folks who shouldn't be much trouble. But greed makes people reckless. Nathan's girlfriend, Mary, was never part of the plan. She just wanted her car so she could go to work. But things spiral out of control when she's roped into this deadly scheme. She waits outside as the boys fumble with the safe, growing more nervous by the minute. With frustration and fear creeping in, Mary finally steps inside, a choice that seals her fate. But in this house, nothing is what it seems, and the real nightmare begins when the owners return. Dr. Huggins isn't the frail old man they expected, and Ellen's kindness hides something far darker. Once inside the house, Mary drops a bombshell on Nathan. She's pregnant. Her confession sends his mind spinning, but there's no time to think. The front door creaks, and terror fills the air as Dr. Richard Huggins and his wife Ellen step inside. The intruders freeze like statues, hearts racing. Gaz, ever the brute, grabs the couple and ties them up tight, his eyes gleaming with greed. He barks threats, demanding that Richard open the safe, but Dr. Huggins isn't as helpless as he seems. With a calm, unsettling smile, he plays with their minds, offering false codes and stalling for time. When Richard looks at Nathan and Terry, his eyes narrow with recognition. He remembers them from when they were just kids. The weight of guilt crushes Nathan's resolve. He hesitates, his stomach twisting in knots, knowing they've gone too far. Sensing weakness, Gaz takes charge. A dark rage fuels him as he lunges at Nathan. Blades flash, and blood spills as Gaz plunges a knife into his friend's side. The betrayal stains the room, turning it into a grisly battlefield. With madness in his heart, Gaz binds Ellen and revs up a circular saw, its hungry teeth spinning wildly. He grins wickedly, ready to carve his prize from the shadows of fear. But before he can strike, Mary summons all her strength and fury. Her fingers grip a heavy sledgehammer, and with a sickening crunch, she silences Gaz forever. Breathless and trembling, Mary and Terry rush to free the Hugginses. The tension melts for just a heartbeat before Ellen's eyes fix on Mary. A chilling moment stretches thin as Ellen's lips twitch with familiarity. She knows her. Richard, with a soothing voice and eyes full of false kindness, offers to save Nathan's life. He promises to operate on him, and even pretends to call an ambulance. Desperation makes Mary believe him, for a moment. Meanwhile, Ellen, as sweet as poison, tends to Terry's injured foot. Her gentle hands hide wicked intentions. As Mary watches, dread knots in her stomach. She sees Ellen cradling Terry, softly stroking his face. Then, in a moment so disturbing it makes her heart stop, Ellen plants a kiss on his bare backside. Panic rises like bile in Mary's throat. This isn't care, it's control. Her eyes widen with horror. They've been tricked. The air grows thick as Ellen's injection works its way into Terry's bloodstream. He slips into a fog of terrifying visions. In the shadows of his mind, he sees Jane, Mary's twin sister, the one who vanished months ago. Everyone whispered she had run away, but her ghostly image whispers a darker truth as it haunts his drugged thoughts. In the next room, Richard lures Mary closer, the scent of tea swirling between them. His voice drips with false warmth as he spins tales of loss. He speaks of Kate, their long-dead daughter, and the string of teenage girls who disappeared without a trace in the surrounding woods. The weight of danger presses against Mary's chest, her instincts screaming to run. She grabs Terry, his body limp and his mind broken, dragging him toward the garage. A flicker of hope sparks as she finds the van. Their way out, their last chance. Her hands tremble as she jams the keys into the ignition, heart pounding as the engine roars to life. But salvation turns into betrayal. As she shifts into drive, pain explodes in her back. Terry, eyes glassy and mind lost, pulls the trigger. The van jerks forward as blood soaks her clothes, the road to freedom slipping away with every heartbeat. As Mary's life slips away, her vision blurs, and her body feels cold. Richard crouches beside her, his words cutting deeper than any blade. He smirks as he speaks, taunting her about death's icy grip closing in. He acknowledges her bravery, even mocks her for saving him and Ellen from Gaz's wrath. But in this house of horrors, gratitude is a cruel joke. The truth he shares curdles her blood. The safe they'd been trying to crack? It's not a treasure trove of money. It's a vault of nightmares. Behind its steel door, countless girls have been locked away, twisted into living dolls. He and Ellen dressed them like children, whispering the name Kate, as if playing a deadly game of pretend. Those who couldn't play the part, they were discarded like broken toys. But one girl fit, and when Richard turns the lock, the metal groans open to reveal the cruelest horror of all. Mary's sister, Jane, the girl who vanished without a trace, sits shackled inside. Her eyes, hollow and hopeless, meet Mary's fading gaze. Tears spill down Mary's cheeks as the last flicker of life drains from her. Her trembling hand reaches out, fingers twitching, but the world slips into darkness before she can touch her sister one final time. For Terry, there is no salvation. His mind fractured and his will broken. He becomes their next toy. As Richard and Ellen drag his limp body into the vault, the door slams shut with a metallic clang, sealing him inside with Jane. His muffled screams echo in the suffocating dark as the Hugginses smile, their twisted family growing by one more soul. The film closes with a scene dripping in quiet dread. Terry's mother, her eyes weary and voice trembling with worry, sits in the cozy living room of the Hugginses' home. The walls are lined with delicate floral wallpaper, the air thick with the scent of fresh-baked scones. She speaks of her son's disappearance, her hands wringing with fear as she clings to hope. Dr. Huggins nods with a mask of sympathy, his eyes cold behind the warmth of his words. Ellen offers a gentle smile, pouring tea as if they weren't monsters in human skin. "Boys will be boys," she murmurs, reassuring Terry's mother with hollow kindness. Outside, the garden lies deathly still. The freshly turned soil, dark and damp, hides the terrible truth. Beneath the roses and lilies rests Mary's body, her final scream swallowed by the earth. She is not alone in her shallow grave. Somewhere below, Gaz and Nathan lie forgotten, their dreams and greed buried with them. As Terry's mother thanks the Hugginses and steps away into the fading light, the couple exchanges a glance, a look of quiet triumph. In this house, secrets bloom like weeds, and evil wears a polite smile. So, which awesome movie should we recap next? Drop your suggestions in the comments below and let's make it happen. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you never miss out on our movie recaps. We've got plenty more coming your way. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Produced by Warner Movie Recaps.